Hello and welcome to the Money Charts channel. Today is that of Saturday, 15th day of June 2019. My name is Derek. All bets trades and of the like, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, multiple time frames quickly from each time frame, starting monthly. I'm moving back as this little month in here, you can hardly see it. At least I can hardly see it. We've got a up month right now of 2.05%, up $175, a low of 74, high of 88, which is really hardly any volatility at all. That's only 20% for when I scroll in. I mean, you can see it a little bit more clearly here. As price action had a little bit of a fall below here, but it's holding and staying above the 18 average of highs. Of course, again, getting above this major level of previous resistance and just nicely getting above there. And as we look at this further, we're going to see that it looks as if there's a good chance that we can continue this uptrend. Next up on the weekly chart, just showing more within this correctionary move in here. Few periods in here going sideways. And we've got almost like an identical red and green back and forth two candle situation. When you give back losses or gains, in this case, giving back the losses on the market, and to me, that's a very nice bullish situation. And I like this 18 average to help determine correctionary moves, lift off points, and stuff like that. But it's well extended above it, and to me, it looks as if it's not in need at this time of a correction within the 18 average, and to me it looks like we're going to have a nice little breakout. I'm still thinking we're going to head to at least from here a target level, just blindly looking at this, ignoring well, I guess somewhat ignoring mathematical calculations, but just using the eye test for what a good leg higher looks. To me, a base area would be somewhere in the close to 11,000 as a conservative level. On the daily term time frame, this is a situation in here where we've got this sideways consolidation, and we're leaving the 18 average. There's a little bit area of the support. It managed in here, when we see this on May the 22nd, it came down to the 18 average of highs, spent 3 days showing strength amongst such, and then it had its breakout above higher. And this is where it was like, okay, this is ready to go. May 26th, 3 days, this is looking strong. Even after this correctionary move, May 30th, we started the first 3 days off of June with a very good look. So there's a spot where it was showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs, and it pulled back down and then starting to lift off. And now this is what we've seen earlier before amongst this. And let me just push this on auto so I can see where it was. Well, it was above this. Yeah, right in here, we were showing all the strength amongst the 18 highs in April. Then it pulled back down to the lows. Now another shot here on May the 3rd. We could see when it broke above that one. Really, really big. So here was your attempt again to start that move to 10,000 plus. Of course, the sell-off here on June the 3rd and 4th brought it back down to this area of support. It's just where it was. Didn't matter if it was here or a bit lower. The bottom line is it managed to get up to the 18 average of highs on June the 12th, consolidated on June the 13th in yesterday's session, managing to break above. And right now we can see today's session just a very, 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 very low volatile day. Sort of like the monthly chart, exactly the same thing, really. And this thing has a low of 86 and a quarter, a high of 87.80. That's a differential of about 160, or only 2%. Yesterday's move again, though, was a good 6% up gain. When we take a look at this on the 4 hour term time frame, price action, just like 3 or 4 very tiny sideways moves from this last green candle up. Still no, hasn't still well extended from the 18. Whenever it's ready to go, it could go. But within this, it's no concern to me whatsoever if there's even any sell-offs, even as deep down to 8,000 and 8,000 area. But anything that can come up to this little area if need be, and that's the key word, if need be, because we're seeing another situation where it's correcting without the aid or need of this 18, or another way of putting it, not having a major one, but a minor one, almost like taking a small, when you're playing sports or whatever, taking a 2 minute break compared to like an hour or a halftime break kind of deal. And you take a small little break and then you get going. You see price action really starting to get above some of these higher levels in here. It could work out well. And we can see in here from yesterday at 1900 hours on the single hour term time frame that this market is it's up towards this big little level high. So a first quick breakout, I'm looking at like the 9,000-ish area, and then of course above that we'd be looking at those big moves. But what we see in here is an attempt to leave the 18. It's barely gotten above it. It's right now at that level. But that's of course what I'm looking for is the exitation of the 18 average. And in such a situation like this, after a good half dozen plus or so periods congesting and correcting within it, when you see it leaving and stuff like that, to me that's a big situation that this thing is really going to be ready to get going. Okay, ARC just risked 8% down. That must have, it was only 5% down like 5 minutes ago or whatever. So, yeah, that just happened 5 minutes ago. That's really not going to affect any of my trades for anything right now. But as far as stuff to show in here, let's just look at the movements in here. Probably Litecoin. Let's just quickly talk about Litecoin. We'll do it against Bitcoin on the daily term time frame. We see it quickly amongst this 18 average after 3 days down. And from this point on, okay, correctionary mode. Is this all of the correction? It could still have a deeper one and be fine. For on the weekly term time frame, if it comes down the 18 lows, it comes down to here. But it made the statement, got above here, pulled back, and you have a point A low, point B high, the correctionary move. Leaving above this, if it's able to do it, would be phenomenal, phenomenal results. But short term, after the big high to this little move, it's obviously been in a downtrend since in this correctionary mode. So if we're leaving this 18 lows in here, well, that's the opposite of all the stuff I talk about in a bull market when you leave the 18 highs. So if you see that it's showing weakness around in here, holding and staying below this, or you see some massive sudden pushes down below, well, you can expect a lower, a decent leg lower. And again, using the same ideology of, okay, well, I test what's a good low look like. And to me, I'm just pointing at around 1453, 144 area as the next leg lower, if, of course, there's going to be one. It's got to get above this 18 average of highs for me to say, okay, this is making an attempt to resume or revert this trend back up and higher. And right now, it hasn't even tested the 18 average of highs, so it's not even in the flattening mode out. You need just a lot of things to happen. Get above it, hold and stay above it for a while, and at any time it could have a sudden break above it. But for now, of course, this is starting a new downtrend amongst this time frame. And just quickly looking at something like the hourly time frame, we can see, okay, this is where the uptrend, of course, ended. It had this little support in here contracting through time. There's exitation of the 18 lows, new support. And here we have a small attempt. There's exitation of the lows, new low lower. And in this situation here, when it corrected amongst here, it didn't break down. Came up to here, did not resist the 18 average of highs. Rather, it came up and made a lower high to this. No big deal making a lower high after a lower low, but it's important to make a higher low than higher high after that, which is what it's looking like it's doing here, because now we've seen it come back to this 18 average and a lift off the last 3-4 periods now to the 18 highs, showing some possibilities, but we need to see it get above this level of resistance. And in doing so, then I'd be looking for a good chance that in time it could at least maybe at least fill at least one more leg higher. I'm going to finish this off within Bitcoin dominance and Litecoin dollar, I think. So, well, Litecoin dominance, anything there? Nice little setup here as well, but it's pretty much the same sort of deal as well. So let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Okay, but there we go. Daily term time frame. After yesterday's move in here, just a little bit of hanging in there. Really, nothing too much for me to go over here on this. But this thing holds this and breaks and does a technical. That'll probably mean Bitcoin would have a spectacular rally, and altcoins not following suit as much. And Litecoin against the US dollar. Let's take a look at that in at 135. And let's do multiple time frames on this because I know how to do that. Same thing with Bitcoin with the 18. Not resisting the highs. Okay, this is like making a statement. This could be wild. And normally, if you're gonna have a big move from a large play, it's not going to be just a whole bunch of small ones. So this is one way of me, even though the 18 says the same, of me saying that this is not an overextended market. And not only is it not overextended, but it's in good line or is a better probability of having a significantly large size candle on the monthly time frame that could not only at least come up to previous high, but who knows if it's able to do it. A lot of times within bull markets, the big runs, the big moves, even on the log scale charts, can happen at the very end of the move. And basically, what I'm seeing here is it's making its way up, but nothing with extraordinary large, amazing high volatility. On the weekly term time frame, we can just see more is just making its way up, correcting whenever it needs to. Obviously, three straight weeks in here going down. Now every week seems to be an up week from that point on. It looks like we are six in a row, although two of them are pretty much sideways in a row. So again, a little bit of a correctionary move, and just leaving this level of resistance and high. So I'm expecting there's a good chance for this to go well into the 100s. 178, probably even up to this 76.4% Fibonacci level at the 190, or we'll say 200 level. On the daily term time frame, this is that Fibonacci level that it came back to in yesterday's session, and it looks like it's leaving it, and there's a good chance that this thing is possibly ready to go for a new high. Because whenever you make a new leg higher like it did in here, and you're making, especially when you're making a whole bunch of them like this, you have your move back to where you came from, although technically it wasn't, back to a key Fibonacci point that was supposed to be resistance. Definitely big time there. And of course, the 18 average of highs. Now, of course, we see that movement starting to lift higher. Do we get any evidence on the shorter term time frame that this is getting ready to get going? Well, the 4 hour paints a very phenomenal picture. Well, there's again the finding support at that key level. Really, on a couple different occasions, it came there at lunchtime on June 13th, and then again, same time frame, lunch on June 14th. Right now it's 11 a.m. as I'm doing this right now. But when I look at this over the last little while, this is just an amazing setup. Because from the lows, we take a couple periods, we get to the 18 average of highs piercing above it, and then pulling back, closing amongst that area. So for now, I'm going to put a short-term line in here because this to me is a very key area for the 18 highs, and I'm doing so when looking at the 1 hour and maybe 15. So three periods just going sideways. 58 minutes 27 seconds left in this period. So that means we're three-quarters of the way through. So this is one of the things when I say if it can get above and you can see it hold and stay above a period like this. Well, there's what it looks like when it holds and stay above it for three consecutive periods. So very much very highly optimistic within this moving forward on the single-hour term time frame. Again, this was the 18 average of highs, or this was. Yeah, this is the 18 average of highs on the 4 hour. So as it was coming up to it, not resisting it, it's been just phenomenally supporting it for quite some time. Every single hour since 9 p.m. last night. A major support, major resistance established in at around 133 mid and up 136. So 133.5 to 136 is the sideways range for this, and 15-minute term time frame. Again, you can see more of it. Every time it gets above the 18 average of highs, it's an attempt to get it going. So 1:15 in the morning, it attempted it, didn't do so. We definitely attempted it here at 6:30 in the morning up to 8 o'clock, didn't do it. And now, right now, it's looking like it. Well, it is attempting it. It's saying right now it's attempting it again for a third time since the sideways consolidation. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to this morning's video and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.